Is Merck on the moral high ground? I don't know, but on the legal high ground, probably yes. And when you call something a sham, and to your point, tantamount to extortion, I mean, they have pretty good lawyers. They chose those words carefully. The question is, how do you invest or trade the stocks? Now, I think a couple things. Eli Lilly, by the way, is within a whisper of an all-time high. Merck has sold off from its all-time high, not that much, but I think there's been somewhat of a rotation out of the space. If you think, like I think, this will pass as well, valuations are so compelling, and at some point there'll be a rotation back to healthcare from high-flying tech, I think you own these stocks on these sell-offs.
But isn't this political sort of, I don't know, is this a headwind, Tim?
It's a headwind because it's uncertainty. We talk this all the time. Yeah. This is just like it, and it feels like another one of those sectors. We've just gotten done with the banks being under at least a different kind of a regulatory squeeze. This is a squeeze where there's unknown. Granted, we have until 2026 to see some of these rules come into stake. I don't think there's any question other drug companies come in here, and I think it's at some point it'll be, I think, the entire group fighting together. But if you think about what's going on with Merck, and you think about Keytruda, and you think about some of the products that they have, that, by the way, they just gave an update on Keytruda recently at a big industry conference where they talked about a product pipeline for mid to late cycle oncology, where there's a lot of exciting things that have caused a lot of folks to come out and re-rate. I mean, they have as much to lose by this as anybody. So if you think about the places, and there's been pretty good dispersion between healthcare, right? I mean, my Pfizer, not so much, but you look at a Merck, you look at a Lilly, you have companies that have really outperformed, and you've got an analyst community, I think a portfolio management community that have been easy to adopt some of these trends. And so I think it's early stages here. This isn't new news. We knew about this Inflation Protection Act, hit against the drug companies. They are hitting back. It's political, and it remains so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else we really would have expected. I mean, this is really the lifeblood of the profitability of these companies. Essentially, before they convert to generics, they need to extract maximum value. So I'm not surprised to see them come out and fight vehemently. I think from a trading standpoint, and that's really why we're here, I mean, it may compel you to kind of look into, I mean, counterintuitively, more risky parts of the healthcare space, biotech, et cetera, that aren't necessarily subject to these type of regulations. So for me, I do think there will always be a demand for healthcare, particularly the defensive nature. But I can understand, at least in the short or intermediate term, pushing out a bit on the risk curve while you avoid this situation altogether.
Mike, what's interesting about this whole IRA impact is that, you know when these drugs will come under the effect of the IRA. Januvia, it'll be 2026, where it will be subject to potentially a 25 to 60% discount for Keytruda. That's going to be a little bit farther out in 2028. So, if you're worried about a patent cliff, all of a sudden this is like an earlier, worse almost patent cliff, because you're cutting short that lifespan of the drug where you can actually make money.
Well, that's right. You get two cliffs essentially now for the price of one. And, this is, unfortunately, from a legal perspective, there's also a little bit of a political battle going on here. Optically, this is a tough one, right? Because high drug prices are unpopular, and trying to reduce healthcare spending, particularly by the government, is probably a politically popular portion of the IRA, I would think. The thing is that when you take a look at Pfizer and Merck specifically, these are two names that are particularly cheap. A lot of bad news is already baked into them. We are seeing some other stocks like AstraZeneca today, where we saw some actually bullish options activity, but bearish in these other two, as I was mentioning. I think, this might actually be an okay time to dip your toe into some of these, because there's already so much bad news baked in.
Guy, how much, when you say there could be a rotation, and how much is that influenced by your belief that this is going to be so far out, or that it's already factored into the stocks? I
think the rotation portion, I believe that some of the indications, some of the metrics on these high-flying tech names are levels we haven't seen in 30 years. I mean, we're 2 standard deviations away in terms of RSIs and stuff. So I think at a certain point, some of these high-value, high-growth names are going to break. I think a break in those stocks will get people back in energy, one, but healthcare as well, too. And I think it's just a matter of time at this point, given where things are. And these stocks, listen, have they been under pressure? It's hard to say that with Eli Lilly at an all-time high and Merck within a whisper of its all-time high. But valuations, to me, are still compelling, so I still think these stocks go higher.
Well, rotation is the word for the markets right now, too. We could be opening the show talking about a lot of sectors that are either getting, and healthcare is a rotation out. Look, it's been a very defensive place. If you were talking to people 6 months ago, all they could tell you was to buy healthcare and maybe some energy, again, places that seem defensive and counter-cyclical. So I think a lot of the move in healthcare right now, if you look at the IYH, some of this is just a function of, look at the market we're in. Look at the move we've had. Look at the risk aggression, the risk on that's been going into mega cap tech. And I just, I look at the IYH again and again, a proxy at least for the healthcare sector. And it doesn't mean that that's how you have to own it. And in fact, I'm long Merck, I'm long Pfizer, I'm long Lilly. But it's traded basically in a 15% range for a year with a slightly upward, kind of trajectory of a slope. And that's a function of the markets we're in. I don't think people run that far from some of the biggest balance sheets in the world, some of the most cash generative companies in the world, even with some of this overhang.